good afternoon, or I guess it's good morning still. We're not quite to afternoon yet. My name is Lynanne Yundestead, and I'm the Director of New Student and Family Programs here at VCU.
And I'm Lauren Braun. I'm the Assistant Director here in New Student Family Programs.
And we're really excited that you've decided to join us this morning to learn a bit about New Student Orientation, and specifically the Family Orientation Program, since many of you joining us are hopefully family members of our new incoming Rams. We're really excited to meet you and to get to know your students, not only at orientation, but over the next few years that they're here with us. So we're excited to jump right in and to go over a few things that we think are really important for you to know as a family member about the orientation program, and then we're going to leave some time as well for questions that you may have of us that maybe we haven't touched on. But one thing I want to encourage you to do as we're beginning to go through this, if you have the ability to open kind of a second tab on your browser or whatever mobile device you might be using, we want to encourage you to pull up our website. It does have a lot of really useful information, and we'll be referencing a lot of the information for this Facebook Live event from that website directly. So it'll be something good for you to refer back to. And that website is nsfp.vcu.edu. And that's NSFP as in New Student Family Programs.vcu.edu. And on that website, you'll see various different tabs that apply to different things our office does. Most of the information we're talking about today is going to be on the orientation tab, but there will be several things we reference that are also from the family section. So we encourage you to go ahead and explore there and take a look around. So we're going to start off by telling you a little bit about why we think it's important for orientation to happen. It's sort of our livelihood, so we care a lot about it.
We do, a lot. We're biased.
We're a little bit biased, but there are a lot of reasons why orientation is really important, not only for new incoming students, but for their families as well. And so as far as our students go, we believe that orientation helps students to have a much more successful transition into the university. It is a required program here at VCU for all new students, whether you're a first-year student, transfer student, non-traditional student, doesn't matter, an adult learner, it is a requirement to attend, and that's because of the value we believe that program has to you and your student and their success here. We're going to be talking about a lot of different things at orientation that will help them to be successful here. We're going to talk a lot about safety on campus and in the urban community that we live in. We're going to be talking about advising and the relationship that they should develop with an academic advisor and with faculty, and how important that is. We're going to cover topics around diversity and what it means to be part of a community that is striving to be very inclusive. And so there are just a lot of things that really help to integrate them into the VCU community at our orientation program. We also think it's important for you to attend orientation, and so I'm going to switch gears and talk about that a little bit. So families, it is optional for families to attend orientation. Let me say that first. And we do have a lot of families who choose to participate in our full program or who kind of pop in and out for sessions as they're available. We do have some families who work in the area who may not be able to come for the whole program, but maybe they can take a half a day and come and spend some time with us. We're going to go over the schedule a little bit later so that if you are one of those family members who may not be able to participate in the full program, but you know there are some points that you want to attend, you'll have a better sense of when to be able to make your schedule. The reason we think it's important for families to attend or be part of orientation is that our goal is to really help you in that program to be armed as a partner in your student success here. We know that when students are frustrated or they have questions or they don't know what to do or they're confused, they are not going to come and find Lauren and I, even though we'll tell them a million times at orientation that we're here to serve them and to help them. They're not going to come to our offices or text us or Snapchat us. They're coming to you. They're going to the people who love and support them and have really been there for them up to this point and will continue to be there for them. And so if we can give you the information that we think is important for your student to know and for you to know to be a partner in their success, then we've done something that's valuable. And so that's really kind of the purpose of the family orientation program, is to really get you a very in-depth overview of the university and understanding of resources beyond what you might have experienced at a preview day or an open house event. and then to also talk to you about how to get engaged as a family member at the university. We have a lot of opportunities for engagement, and we're going to talk to you a little bit about those later on. So Lauren, why don't you tell us what to expect at orientation?
All right. So just a few things for you to be prepared for. First and foremost, I want to ask everyone, if you have a mobile device with you, I'm going to have you go ahead and download our RAM Guide app. So if you have a minute to do that now, what you do is just go into the App Store if you're either through Google, if you're using Android, or you can also download it through Apple, and you're just going to search VCU RAM Guide. And this is an app that is used by many departments within the university. I think at least a dozen of us have guides within RAM Guide. And once you get that downloaded, the one that I'm going to want you to download first is going to be your orientation guide. So what you'll do is you'll search, once you download the app, there's a little looking glass up at the top. Just search Orientation 2019-2020, or if you just type in orientation, it'll pop up. And that is our orientation guide for this summer. And that'll get you started with everything that you need to know to prepare for your arrival. The most important thing is where to park and when to get here. And that information has all been uploaded. I got that all uploaded on Friday afternoon. And the schedules will be posted here as well. We're working Friday's schedule for any of you who are attending our transfer session on Friday. Friday's schedule has been posted. And then for those of you joining us next Monday or next Thursday, we're going to have those schedules posted by the end of the day today. Fingers crossed, that's our plan. We're working on it. We are a 2-person office with our help of Rachel, who's with our communications. She's the one behind the camera right now. But we are working as hard as we can to get those schedules posted. And they will also be going up online, hopefully by tomorrow. Rachel, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, she's nodding, yes. All right, so for your arrival, all parking for both transfer NSO and first year NSO will be in our Main Street parking deck. That's 801 West Main Street. I have it memorized by now. And that is adjacent to both our check-in locations for both our transfer students and our first year students. So for those of you coming on Friday for our transfer orientation, you'll park in the Main Street parking deck, and we'll have lots of signage up, and we'll have staff out as well early in the morning getting ready to direct you. And then you'll check in directly across the street at the University Student Commons. So you'll see signage, but it's right across the street at the corner of Main Street and Cherry. For those of you who will be joining us next week for our first year orientations, our check-in will begin at the Gladding Residence Center, or GRC as we call it. It's our brand new residence hall that just opened last week, and that's actually where we're chatting with you live from now. Our office is in this building. So once you park in the Main Street deck, you'll head over to the Gladding Residence Center. So transfer students, you'll go to the University Student Commons for check-in, and then guests of our first year students, you'll come over to the Gladding Residence Center. Like I said, we'll have lots of signage up to help you get where you need to go, and we'll have all of our staff available as well. For our transfer students coming on Friday, you should be getting an email, hopefully it'll go out later today or tomorrow, with your check-in times based on whether you are a military student or receiving military benefits. Your check-in time will be a little bit earlier. I believe it'll be at 10:45. Let me double check that.
Yeah. We've got our handy dandy schedules in front of us.
And again, this is for families of transfer students. So military check-in for anyone receiving military benefits on Friday, that will be 10:45. We are also offering an optional campus tour. So any transfer students or families of transfer students who would like to take a tour, your arrival time, if you get there at 11, then you'll have time to check in, go on a tour, and then we'll start the program. And then for everyone else, your check-in time will be 11:15. And again, that is for transfer students. First year families, you have a little bit earlier start time. So this will be on orientation starting June 17th and on. Your check-in times will be based on your student's room assignment. So all of our students for first year NSO who are staying overnight with us, a few days before, we'll probably get it out by Thursday or Friday this week, your student will get an email to their NSO email. So that is not necessarily their VCU email, but whatever email they use to register for orientation. So it's probably a Gmail or a Hotmail, something like that. That will go out to them, and it'll tell them their room assignment for the evening, and then their check-in time will be based on their floor. So when you arrive for NSO, you'll all come together with make sure the students bring their bag. Hopefully they will fit all of their stuff in one bag.
Just one. It's one night. Only one night.
In a backpack or a duffel bag, something that they can easily carry. And then we'll get you checked in for orientation, and then you'll get to go up and see their room for the night. They will be randomly assigned a roommate for the evening. It's just one night. But they'll be able to, if they have friends coming to orientation, they'll definitely be able to spend lots of time with them. And then once it's time for bed, they'll head back to their rooms. So they'll check in for NSO, get your bags dropped off to your rooms. You'll have a quick couple minutes to see the rooms, because we know family members are really excited to see what the residence hall rooms look like. So you'll get a chance to do that. And then once the students drop off their luggage in their rooms, you'll be able to head out and head on with the rest of the program. They will get a backpack. So students, all first year students will get a drawstring bag to carry all of their stuff. And transfer students, you'll get a tote bag, so you'll have something to put your stuff in. Family members, you will also get a bag for NSO, so you'll have a bag to put all the giveaways and stuff that you'll be getting from all our office and other offices. So they don't need to worry about carrying their backpack around with them all day. They can leave that in their room. For students who may not be staying overnight with us, maybe you live locally, that's totally fine. You'll be coming towards the end of check-in. That'll be your assigned time. You'll kind of be that last assignment. And I think it'll be about 9:15. So check-in will start at 8:30, and then it'll be 15-minute increments by floor, and then the last check-in group will be 9:15. So if you know you're staying locally, you live locally, or you know your students not staying on campus with us, then they'll be in that last check-in group. So you'll get to sleep in a little bit longer. And if your student maybe has said they don't want to stay overnight, but they decide that morning that once they see the residence hall, get a little bit more comfortable, we can accommodate students up until that afternoon. We'll be able to get them in on-campus housing. We definitely encourage students to stay on campus with us. A lot happens in the evening. It's a very busy, packed schedule for the students during the day, as we'll talk about in just a moment. But we really encourage students to stay overnight, even if they're not living on campus in the fall. A lot happens in that evening as far as social activities, more time to interact, make friends, and get more comfortable with the campus. So we absolutely welcome all students to stay overnight, whether you're living on campus or not. I think it's a great experience, and we'll have a lot of fun stuff going on in the residence halls. So definitely encourage them to stay overnight if they're unsure about it. I think they'll really enjoy it and have a lot of fun. So I think that's, as far as check-in, that's kind of everything you need to know. Like I said, have your student look out for those emails that will be coming later this week. And if they're attending orientations later in the summer, that email will go out about 2 days before their orientation with their assigned check-in time. And if you're not sure, just go ahead and come at 8:30. We'll get everyone in, we promise. And we just do ask for a little bit of patience. This is our first time doing check-in in our new residence hall. So hopefully we've got a really great team put together, and everything will hopefully run really smoothly. But anytime you're moving 500 plus students and their families, there might be some lines, but like I said, we'll do our best to keep things moving, keep everyone informed, and make sure that it's a really smooth process. But we appreciate your patience with that. As far as other things to expect, one thing that's really important for you all to know as our family members, once we get through that check-in process, students are going to head off to their welcome, and families are going to head off to yours. So the programs are separate for most of the day. You will have some times to check back in with your students in the afternoons, and Lynn will go over those in a few minutes when we talk about the schedules. But just be prepared after you go up and check in with them, or once you've got your student checked in for the day, then you will be kind of separating from there. Families, if you're just planning on dropping your students off and not staying for the day, you'll be able to check in with them, go up and see the rooms, and then after that you'll head out from there. And we will have a parking pass available for those of you who are not staying with us. That's included in your student's registration. So if you just want to park in the Main Street deck for a few minutes, then you'll be able to head out from there. Okay.
The only difference with that is with our transfer program. So if you are the family member of a transfer student, that program for the most part is actually done side by side, with the exception of any kind of advising or meeting with the academic advisors that might happen during orientation. We understand that a lot of our transfer students may be bringing a spouse, a significant other, a child, someone like that with them as a guest, and so those programs are side by side. But Lauren is exactly right in saying that the first year program is structured just a little differently, and that's mainly because there are so many resources that we want to make sure that you as a family member hear about, and that messaging is really tailored to you. So we're very excited to be able to share with you a very customized program.
Absolutely. All right, so next up we're going to chat a little bit about what you should bring with you to your orientation. So for both families of transfer and first year students, definitely encourage you, however you like to take notes. We'll have a pen for you, but you might want to bring something to take notes with if you prefer to do handwritten notes still. That's me too. I'm old school like that. Some of you might prefer taking notes on your phone or on a tablet. There'll definitely be lots of opportunities for you to ask questions throughout the day, but you might want a space to write down those questions, because a lot of times presenters will ask you to save them to the end, or you'll have opportunities to meet with offices during our RAM resource fair, so you might want to save some of those questions for specific offices. So just have something that you can take notes with. We always encourage our participants to take pictures of any of the screenshots that we have. We'll have the presenters will usually have a PowerPoint or something up on display, so you can take pictures that way. But whatever it is that you might need to take notes. And that's true for students as well. Encourage them to bring something that they can take notes with as well. For both transfer and first year students, if you have official copies of your students' transcripts, either from high school or from their previous school, or if they have AP, IB, or dual enrollment information, go ahead and bring that. Undergraduate admissions will be stationed at check-in for all of our first year students, and they will be collecting transcripts. So go ahead and bring those with you. Also, if you or your students have any medications that you need to take throughout the day, you'll want to make sure you have those with you, and make sure you remind your student if they have medications they need to take during the day, then they should keep those in a bag with them all day, because we won't be coming back to the residence halls until the evening time. So once you've checked in the morning, make sure that they have those medications with them, and any paperwork that they might need to turn into offices or have questions about, we can certainly take care of that, but we just want to have it with us and not leave it in the car or in the residence hall when we check in.
One medication that kind of gets frequently forgotten is an EpiPen. If your student has allergies, especially with regards to any kind of bugs or outdoor insects, we do have a lot of parts of our program do take place outside for students. That's where they do a lot of their team building and small group time. And so if your student might have an allergy to bee stings or something like that, carrying an EpiPen is very important. So we encourage them to bring anything like that with them and keep it with them at all times.
Yeah. We also know everyone wants access to their phones, so we encourage students and families to make sure you have your phone charger with you. We have charging stations all over campus, plenty of plugs in all of the presentation rooms, so make sure you have that charger with you. You can keep that phone charged. Also, as if you live near Richmond or in really Virginia, I think the whole state has had a lot of rain lately, so we definitely encourage you to bring an umbrella, a rain jacket. I haven't seen the forecast. I'm too scared to check it.
We're hoping that it's getting it all out of its system this week.
I think hopefully there'll be less rain starting next week. Knock on wood. Everyone say a quick prayer, send some good thoughts for not a lot of rain. But do be prepared for rain in case. We know in the summer sometimes storms can roll in the afternoon. So we definitely encourage you to make sure you have an umbrella, rain jacket, whatever it is you need to stay dry. And then other than that, just bring a smile and a positive attitude. That's all we ask. That's what we tell our staff as well. So, but definitely have questions prepared. Be thinking about those. Check out the website beforehand, and let us know ahead of time if you have any questions that we can help you with. We're happy to answer those before you come, and we'll be ready for them when you get here.
Great. So I'm going to talk with you just a little bit about our family orientation schedule so that you have a sense of what might be covered during the time that you're here with us on campus. The schedules that I'm referring to will be posted by tomorrow to our website. And you'll be able to find those on the orientation tab. There will be a drop-down menu there where you can access the schedules. The transfer family schedule for this Friday is already posted in the RAM Guide app, as Lauren mentioned earlier, and the first year family schedule will be posted there as well by either end of today or very early tomorrow. So I encourage you to check out both of those so that you don't have to furiously scribble notes as I'm talking through some of the things that are going to happen. But I'm going to talk first about our transfer program coming up this Friday to give you an idea of what to expect. Lauren mentioned the check-in times that begin that day with military students coming at 10:45, those who want an optional campus tour showing at 11, and then our regular check-in process beginning around 11:15. Once you check in with your student, you will have the opportunity to pick up a boxed lunch and all of the swag that Lauren was mentioning earlier, the bags, and then we have lots of fun things for you as a family member and for your student to kind of get you excited about being a member of our family. One of those is this lovely cup that Lauren is proudly displaying her coffee in this morning. But we'll kick off with our welcome around 12:45. And so we'll give you some really good time to kind of eat lunch, ask questions, meet some other people. We know that one of the most important parts of orientation for our students is finding a sense of belonging and finding other people and connecting. So we try to make time for that in our schedule, even though we know that there's a lot to cover. After the welcome, we'll kick off with our first presentation from the Division of Student Affairs. It's called You're In, Now What? And it's really an overview of the various offices that are here to support you during your time as a student and to give you a sense of what kind of things you need to prepare for in your first year here. We'll have an opportunity to hear from Campus Services, which they will discuss things about textbooks, eating on campus, technology needs, things like that are kind of your essentials and the things you need to know to get started, or that your student needs to know to get started. And then we'll have a presentation from VCU Police about staying safe on campus, options for safe transportation, things like that. And then you're going to get some time with me. I'm excited to meet with you all as a family and really let you know a lot more about how to get involved as a family member at VCU. We have so many opportunities for engagement, many that begin this summer and some that will kind of continue on throughout the school year. And so I'm very, very excited to get to meet with you and tell you about those in person. And I'll tell you about a few in just a few minutes just to kind of get you started, give you a little teaser. After that presentation, transfer families will have the opportunity to go with your student to their academic overview. This is when students will go and hear from their specific school or college about certain requirements that are relevant for their major. Now, if your student happens to be an undeclared transfer student, that's okay. There's an academic overview for them as well. So it's not just specific to declared majors. We have an academic overview for everyone. The afternoon's a little bit more free-flowing for our transfer students. We do have a resource fair that's taking place. Our Career Services Office is going to be offering consultations for transfer students who are looking for part-time employment or for internships, externships, anything that might help them in the career development area. And then we have a variety of breakout sessions for both you and your student to choose from. And you'll see those listed once we get the schedule posted. But they cover a lot of different areas such as education abroad, financial aid, which we know a lot of families often have questions about, how to get involved on campus, on and off campus housing options. So just a lot of opportunities for you to hear about things that are really of interest to you and to your student. I will give you kind of my pro tip for this part of your day, and that is that there are 2 breakout session opportunities, and you do not have to stay with your student for those breakout sessions. You can go to different things. And so between you and your student, if it's just 2 of you, you have the opportunity to hear about 4 different topics and share information. And so that's definitely a tip that I would give you, is don't necessarily feel like you have to be right next to them at all of the different sessions that we offer. We do provide a lot of flexibility for you to be able to learn a lot and share. And then that kind of wraps up the transfer day. After breakout sessions and the resource fair, you'll have an opportunity to check out, say goodbye, maybe exchange phone numbers with anybody that you connected with so that you can reconnect in the fall, and that goes for your students as well as you as family members. We hope that you will connect with other family members who can be a source of support for you while your student is here. I'm going to switch gears a little bit and talk about family orientation for our first year families. So your schedule's a little bit different because it's a 2-day program. That first program is going to begin on Monday, June 17th, and then they kind of continue every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday throughout the entire summer. So we'll see you at some point in June, July, or August on a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, or Friday. So as Lauren mentioned earlier, the check-in times are a little bit earlier for that program, starting as early as 8:30, depending on your student's room assignment. In the morning, though, for families, you are in luck. We have got coffee and tea and lots of other little things that are going to hopefully make you smile first thing once you get here and have an opportunity to connect. So we'll start out with sort of a family morning mingle after you get the opportunity to check in and see your student's room. And then I'm going to start the day with you and talk with you about family engagement at the university and kind of the expectations that we have of family members and being a support system for your student, but also the opportunities that we have for you to really become an active part in your student's time here at the university and an active part of our university family. We hope that you'll begin to see it as your university too. After that, you're going to hear from our Division of Student Affairs, and they're going to be doing a presentation that's similar to what the students hear. The students hear, you're in, now what? You're going to hear, they're in, now what? And so that presentation for families is going to be an overview of different offices and services that are available to your student and to you. But really, we're going to be talking a lot more about how to help your student develop some resiliency while they're here, and what are the things that we need to do to really help your student to be successful and persist to graduation. And so that's kind of what to expect maybe during that early session so that you're in the right frame of mind for the rest of your time at orientation. You're going to get to hear from some of the same offices that your student might hear from in terms of our campus services, so textbooks, technology needs, dining plans. Those are all going to be covered. You'll have lunch in our dining hall, which is Schaefer Court. It'll be a great opportunity for you to meet with other families and connect. Our students will be having a boxed lunch at a different site, and so this will really be your chance to kind of branch out and meet some people, and we hope that you'll take advantage of that. After lunch, you'll meet up with your student and go to their academic overview, learn a little bit about how we map out majors here at VCU so that your student is lined up for success upon graduation. And then in our first year family program, we have a resource fair. It's a 30-minute resource fair. We understand that many of you may have joined us for an open house or a preview day in the past. And so some of you may choose to opt out of that resource fair and to attend some other things. But that resource fair is absolutely available to you if you still have questions of a variety of offices on campus. And there are between 30 and 40 offices that participate in that. The afternoon will give you an opportunity to choose your own adventure and to go to things that are relevant to you. So during that time, we have a breakout session for students and families who might be utilizing military benefits. We also have a breakout session for families and students families of students who might be pursuing a pre-professional health track. So something, for example, like dental hygiene or physician-assisted tracks or things like that, things that you might want to have a little bit more information about what the requirements are for some of those pre-health programs. They are a little bit more rigorous than some of our other programs. We have a breakout session for those of you who might be your students who might be first-generation college students. We have a great team on campus who will provide you as a family member some resources in how to support your first-gen student. And for us at the university, we here at VCU define a first-generation college student as any student whose parent has not graduated from a four-year college or university. So you will know whether or not that applies to you. We hope you and your student maybe talk about that on your way to orientation or prior to coming, because there is a breakout session for first-gen students as well. And so we hope you'll consider attending that if that applies. And then if none of those other breakout options appeal to you or apply to you, the other option is our Family O-Show, which is the highlight of orientation. Our families love it every year. We have a wonderful group of student leaders who serve as family orientation leaders and put on a very entertaining, fun, and relevant show for our families, and then have the opportunity to engage in some Q&A afterwards, so that you can really get a student perspective on life at VCU. And so that is a really fun thing to be a part of as well. After some of those breakout options, we have an amazing presentation about how to be a partner in your student success that comes from our Division of Student Success Leadership, another one of the most highly rated parts of orientation. So as you're thinking about, if you can only come for certain parts of the day, I definitely recommend that session as one that would be really beneficial, and that's going to be taking place from about 3:45 to 4:30. So if you have to choose a morning or an afternoon, the afternoon might be the way to go that day. We'll follow that up by talking about student safety, and then we're going to end our first day for families with the Ram Horn tradition. And the Ram Horn tradition, I'm not going to spoil the secret. It's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun.
You'll love watching it, and it'll be a great time to just cheer on and celebrate your student. And so that's kind of how we end our first day. Students will then go off and have dinner and start making great friendships and doing awesome things that night. And you will get released into Richmond to take over the food scene, which is amazing here. That's one thing, if you haven't prepared yourself already, please start looking online for restaurants that you want to eat at while you're here with us if you're not local. And we will be happy to make recommendations as well. The food is so good in Richmond, so good.
Absolutely. And one thing to note, the student schedule goes a little bit later than the family schedule. So the students who are staying overnight with us, which is usually the majority of students, their programming goes till about 10 o'clock at night. We'll have stuff going on here in the residence hall for them. We'll have movies, we'll have games, they'll have an opportunity to go see the Cary Street Gym, which is just down the street from our building. But for those students who maybe are not going to stay overnight with us, their program will end around 8 p.m. And they do need to stay until 8 p.m. All of that programming that's happening until that time is mandatory. So just keep that in mind. If your student is not staying overnight and you all are coming together, you might just want to, like Lynn said, go make a dinner reservation, go grab dinner, and then you can come back and swing back and pick them up around 8 p.m. It's really important. They have, as Linnea mentioned, the family O-Show, which is a lot of fun. The students have their own version, the student O-Show, which also kind of gets them thinking about some of those real life college experiences and kind of helps them work through some things that they might encounter as students, and how they can make sure they stay connected to resources and really start their time at VCU on the right foot. So that program is really important for them to attend. So just be aware of that. You'll be done just after 5 o'clock. And the students will be done right around 8 o'clock if they're not staying overnight. If they're staying overnight, they're with us, they're good, they'll be in good hands, and we'll try to encourage them to get to bed at a reasonable time.
Just a little bit of
so that they're not too tired the next morning.
Absolutely. So speaking of the next morning, for families, we get started at 9 a.m. on day 2, and it's a nice ease into the day. We do a nice little coffee and tea and really a light breakfast, kind of light refreshments that morning with our campus partners. That event is going to be open to not only all of our families, but we have academic representatives from every school or college that come to that event. So directors of advising, deans are invited to that, some faculty are invited to that, as well as offices that have high touch points with families. So student accounting, for example, or financial aid, housing and residential life. These are the types of offices that we know you have questions for, and this gives you kind of a comfortable, relaxed environment to ask those questions and to get to know some of those campus partners. Then after that, we'll kind of lead into a session about residential life and housing options on campus, as well as they'll talk a little bit about off-campus options, but for those of you who are first-year families, we know most of you who are staying or who are living here will be living on campus. So the presentation will mainly focus on what to prepare in terms of move-in and kind of getting ready to live in a residential environment on campus. We have a financial planning session that will include representatives from financial aid and student accounting that morning. And so that's a very relevant presentation for many of our families, and hope you will join us for that. And then we end the day with families in early afternoon, late morning, early afternoon, with a variety of options. So we offer for families a campus tour. We have kind of a Q&A lounge with some professional and student staff. And then we have some tours of various facilities on campus. For instance, our Institute for Contemporary Art, which has been open now for a little over a year, as well as our library. And so we hope that if you haven't had a chance to explore those spaces, that you'll kind of end your day doing that while you're waiting for your student to wrap up their day. It's possible that students might go in their advising appointments until as late as around 1 or 1:30. So we do ask you to be patient and to know that some students may finish a little bit earlier than others. We have a lot of students joining us for each orientation session. I encourage you to bring snacks just in case. We also have many facilities open on campus if you need to pop in and grab a little something to tide you over until your student gets finished. And then we want to encourage you to go eat lunch in Richmond. We're big foodies in this office, and we're going to always encourage you to go eat lunch and dinner in Richmond. So that gives you an overview of the schedule. Again, these will be posted and available for you to see both on our website and in the RAM Guide app. And I think before we move on to anything else, we just want to ask if you all have any questions. So I know that Rachel's been kind of tabulating those for us, and I know many of you emailed beforehand. So Rachel, what kind of questions are we getting?
We have lots of great questions.
Great. Awesome.
I'm going to go ahead and group some of these by topic, and then we can go through that way.
Awesome.
So first, let's hit on the transfer session this Friday. So will transfer students be staying overnight as part of that session?
No.
No, they
Nope.
do not.
So our transfer program is about a half-day program. Like I said, check-in starting between 10:45 and 11:15, and then the program will end at 5 p.m. It is definitely a condensed version of the program because we know our transfer students have some college experience. And they've let us know that we used to do a full day program, and they told us that it was too long or they were all just leaving. So we've condensed the program to the most important things that we think transfer students need to know. For families and guests of transfer students, I definitely, if you can help us encourage students that even though they've been at another school, every school does things very differently, and VCU is very unique in that way. So whether they've been at a 2-year school, another 4-year school, every school has, things that they do a little bit differently. So we really want to make sure that they understand the VCU way and how we do things here. And we also want them to get connected. That's the biggest thing. We hear from a lot of our transfer students that after their first semester, they feel like they haven't met as many people. They feel like they haven't gotten connected to the resources. So that's why we think that transfer orientation is so important. And we really want students to stay from that entire time. We've done our best to condense and consolidate, but we really want everyone to be there the entire program. Another great thing for transfer students who may feel like after the orientation that they want to dive a little bit deeper, all students are required to take RAM Ready, and that's our online orientation, and this is true for transfer students and first year students. So if you've talked with your student and they haven't completed RAM Ready, please have them complete RAM Ready. Ideally, they should be taking it before they attend orientation, so that way they are kind of have a baseline of what they need to know, and then they can ask really good questions at orientation. RAM Ready is also available for you all, for family members. You can use our guest login to go through, and you'll see pretty much the same information that the students see. We have a few extra slides for family members, especially that just highlight some of our programs for families, but essentially it's the same information for both students and families. So I encourage you all to do that, and it's really easy to access. Just go to ramready.vcu.edu. And the students will log in with their VCU ID and password, same thing that they use for their email. And families, like I said, you can create a guest login. So again, the transfer orientation is not overnight, it's just a half day. If you're the family member of a transfer student, and maybe they only did 1 semester at their school, or maybe even just a year, and they feel like they might want a more immersive experience, we can absolutely accommodate transfer students at our 2-day overnight program. They would just need to call our office or email us, newrams@vcu.edu, or give us a call, 804-828-3700, either one. And we'd be happy to accommodate transfer students in our first year program. Just know that they would be in a program with a little bit younger students who are coming straight from high school, but for some of our transfer students, they're actually not too much further ahead of that. So we're happy to accommodate those students in our 2-day overnight.
We should probably also mention that the schedule that we went over for transfer students is the one coming up this Friday. We do have some other schedules that are later in the summer. So the schedule we mentioned today that goes roughly from 10:45 if you're a military student until around 5 or 5:15 is the program that is taking place. It's our day program, and it's taking place this Friday, June 14th, as well as July 29th and July 30th. We do have abbreviated, even more abbreviated transfer evening sessions that are taking place on July 31st and August 1st. These sessions are really designed for our more non-traditional students, adult learners, people who may be working during the day. And it is a program that runs roughly from about 4 o'clock until until 9. It's an evening program, so 4 to 9. And those schedules will be posted online as well. We won't go into those as much in detail right now. It's just kind of a shortened version of the schedule we discussed earlier.
Great. So our next question in regard to transfer orientation is about transcripts, which we discussed earlier. What are the transcripts necessary for, and what will they be used for on Friday?
Sure, yeah. So admissions has asked us to help get those final transcripts in. So you probably remember your students submitted their transcripts as part of their application process. But what happens a lot of times is when they've applied, which is usually sometime in the fall semester, they've taken classes since then. So they probably took classes in their spring semester. And admissions needs to get those final transcripts from that last semester. Or some students actually a lot of our transfer students may be taking summer courses. So we just need to make sure that they get those final transcripts from their most recent semester over to admissions. And like I said, they'll be here to collect those, or you can send them directly to admissions and make sure that those get in, because that's actually contingent on making sure that you can start classes in the fall, is making sure that we get those final transcripts in. And that's true for both transfer students and for our first year students, because obviously they are getting ready to graduate, or some of them have probably just started graduating this last week or so. So we just want to make sure we get that those last semester transcripts and those grades in, so we can kind of close out their applications and make sure that they're good to go.
Ultimately, that's all about making sure they get their credits approved,
Yep.
So that they're not having to retake classes that they've already paid to potentially take somewhere else. One other note for transfer students is that if they haven't already scheduled an appointment with an academic advisor, that's something they should be doing prior to coming to orientation, and they have received notification about that. And so they can schedule an appointment either in person, on the phone, via Skype, or some kind of web-based service. So there are a lot of options, and those transcripts are kind of just a final seal for the advisor to say, okay, you're good to go to each of these classes based on the courses you've completed.
Perfect. So switching gears to some of those 2-day programs, we have a couple questions about that. The first is, will students and families need to bring their own bedding for that, or will that be provided?
Great question. So for students staying overnight, we do provide bedding. That's included in the fee for students. So they will get, and they won't get it in the morning when they check in, but they'll get it in the evening when they come back to the residence hall. So they'll get sheets for their bed, a pillow cover, and they'll get towels as well. So they'll get a towel to take a shower, a little washcloth, all of that. So
And a fuzzy blanket.
And a fuzzy blanket, yes. They get, I think, 2 blankets to keep themselves nice and warm, because it does get kind of chilly. But they will have control of their ACs in their room. But they'll have to work with their roommate to make sure they can find a comfortable temperature for everyone. But yes, all the linens will be provided for the students. For families, for those of you who may be staying with us on campus in our Cary and Belvedere residence hall, when you filled out the form to say that you would like to stay on campus, there there was an option to add linens. I think there's a small fee associated with that if you'd like to add linens, but if you want to save a little bit money, you can bring your own. So students, all set, they do not need to bring linens. Families, if you're staying on campus with us, and you would need to sign up for that ahead of time, and the link to that is under our VCU Family Orientation page, on our page, then you can opt to purchase linens or you can bring your own.
And are those housing assignments for those orientation sessions available, or if they aren't already, when will they find out?
Yeah, great question. So we are doing that. Assignments are kind of done on a rolling basis. So those will be emailed to the student 2 days prior to their orientation. But we have people changing their minds up until really the last couple of days. So we wait to make those assignments, and that's actually done with our Residence Life and Housing Office. So they manage that process, and then they will email out the student 2 days before. But if for some reason they don't get it or don't see the email, just go ahead and arrive by 8:30 for check-in, and we'll make sure that they get their room assignment that morning.
So switching a little bit, I know you touched on this, but for those that joined us later, will students have the opportunity to register for classes, and will they have the opportunity to meet with financial aid or counselors who could help them with that?
Those are great questions. So regarding registering for classes, so students are actually pre-registered for courses before they come to new student orientation. And that happens a little differently for transfer students versus first-year students. So our transfer students are invited to make an advising appointment with their advisor, and they do that using the Navigate app. They've gotten some email communication. Some of them might have even gotten some phone call communication about setting up those appointments. And transfer students can do, as I mentioned earlier, either an in-person appointment, a phone appointment, or some type of web-based like Skype or even FaceTime appointment with their advisor. In order to get a sense of what courses they need to register for. Our first year students are instructed to fill out a course advising survey. It would be a great idea if you haven't already heard from your student or talked to your student about completing that survey. I'm going to tell you exactly where to find it. If you go to our webpage, which the New Student and Family Programs website, which is nsfp.vcu.edu, you're going to see on the left-hand side of the screen a tab for orientation. And if you hover over that tab with your mouse and scroll down to where it says NSO checklist or orientation checklist, and click on that, it's going to give you a step-by-step guide of all of the things that your student should have accomplished prior to coming to orientation. I think this is a great checklist for families to just be able to say, have you done this? Have you done this? We hope that they're doing it on their own, but we know that sometimes new students need a little bit of encouragement. And so one of the tabs on that checklist, or the items on that checklist, is to prepare to register for courses. And they do that by filling out the advising survey. And the link is right there in the checklist, very easy for them to access. What they will do when they take that survey is they'll answer a lot of different questions about courses they've already completed when it comes to potentially AP, IB, or dual enrollment credits. They're going to answer questions about what their schedule is like. Do they plan to work a job? Are they going to be job free? Do they want to get really involved on campus? That might kind of dictate their course load and whether they're taking classes in the morning, the afternoon, or the evening. And then they're going to be asked some questions about things that they're interested in. A lot of the courses at VCU that are part of sort of our core curriculum are very exploratory and getting them to have a really well-rounded liberal arts type education. And so they're going to ask some of those questions to get a sense of what your students' interests might be and the things that they want to explore. And based on their responses on that survey, your student's academic advisor will create a schedule for them. Your student can log in before orientation if they'd like to their eServices account, which is right off of the VCU homepage, and they can see the schedule that's been created for them. Once they come to orientation, when they go to their advising appointment, they'll receive a copy of their schedule, and at that point they'll be able to ask questions, talk with the advisor, and address any issues that might exist with the schedule if it doesn't meet their needs. And so ideally, every student that comes to orientation will have a schedule already created as long as they've taken the steps they needed to prior to showing up.
And can you just confirm again where that checklist is located?
Yes, I absolutely can. It is on our website, which is NSFP, as in New Student Family Programs, nsfp.vcu.edu. On the orientation tab on the left-hand side, if you hover over that and scroll down to the orientation checklist, it is right in there. That's where you'll find all of those different steps. And I think, Rachel, you mentioned earlier also a question about whether or not you'll be able to meet with financial aid. That's a really popular question, and there will be some opportunities for that for both transfer as well as first-year students. Transfer students, we have a breakout session with financial aid, and then there's also kind of during that afternoon period, it's really a free-flowing time for students to be able to take care of whatever needs they need, whatever needs they have. So if that's going to the resource fair because there aren't things that they need to do on campus, or going to a breakout session because they want to learn about things they're interested in, that's great. But we also understand that some students might need to have a sit-down conversation with financial aid, and that's a perfect time to go and do that. For our first-year program, as I mentioned with the family schedule, on day 2 we have an hour-long financial planning session with financial aid and student accounting for all families. And that would be a great time to get general questions answered. If you have specific questions, then at any point in time while you're here for orientation, you can always pop over to the financial aid or student accounting office. If it's something that you're wanting to do with your student, I encourage you to wait until the afternoon of day 2 when their program is kind of over, get some lunch, and then maybe even pop back over so that you can sit down and have time to really talk through your financial strategy for paying for college.
Jumping back to housing for both orientation and in general, just to confirm, housing for NSO is not the same as their 2019-2020 housing assignments, correct?
Correct. Yep. So for orientation, all students who are staying overnight will be in the Gladding Residence Center, and that will just be their room assignment for that night. They will then, I believe, housing assignments for the fall semester will start coming out probably sometime in late June. So they might not necessarily know their assignment yet, if they're attending those first couple orientation sessions, but they will get a notification to their VCU email from Residence Life and Housing with their assignment for the fall. But for orientation, we'll all be in the Gladding Residence Center just for that night. It will not be their same roommate. It will not, if it happens by chance that they happen to get the same roommate, that would be crazy, but it might happen, I don't know. But just for the night, they'll be in Gladding Residence Center, and they'll just have a random roommate for that evening only.
Mm-hmm. The only exception that we have to that is we have one orientation session that's offered very late in the summer. It's just prior to the start of classes, and that is for our international and out-of-state students who might not be able to come earlier in the summer. And so if you're planning to join us for that date, which for first year students, it's August 15th and 16th, for that session, you would be going ahead and moving into your permanent room assignment. And so that's the only exception. Other than that, everyone will be in Gladding Residence Center together.
All right, and our next question is about the RAM Ready modules. How long does that usually take to complete?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say students should allot about 1 to 2 hours. It just kind of depends on how quickly they read and how intently they go through the content. I would say on average about 2 hours is needed. They can start and stop at any point though. So if they have 30 minutes one night, they can go ahead and get started, and then they log out and log back in maybe the next day. Then it'll bring them to the page where they left off. Mm-hmm. So it does, and it is sequential. So they have to complete the first module to move on to the second module, and then to be considered complete, they have to there's a final test at the end for all students. Families, you won't see that test. That's only for students, but that's how we know that they've completed it. And we do track who's completed it, and we will do some follow-up with students who have not completed it. So definitely encourage them to do that. But yeah, I would say about 1 to 2 hours on average. Just, it might take some students longer. Some students might finish it a little bit faster as well.
It's pretty varied content too, so it stays interesting. Some pages might be written content, and the next page might have videos or things that are a little bit more interactive. And so it's definitely easy to do in chunks, like Lauren mentioned.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, and we have time for one last question. So if they have any questions about their students' registration or their registration, either on staying on campus overnight or just in general, if they're signed up for the correct day, who should they contact and where should they direct those questions?
Yeah. So first of all, I would encourage you, all your students should be able to log back into their orientation account. They have access to that at any point, and they can access that through our new student orientation webpage. And they can log back in, and that will show them their date, and if they have guests, make sure if you're planning on coming to orientation, please make sure your students have signed you up to attend and paid for you to come. We can accept guests on the day of, but spaces can be limited sometimes. So we definitely encourage you to make sure you register ahead of time for that. So that would be my first step, is ask your student to go ahead and log in so you can confirm your date. Our phone lines are very busy right now, as you may have noticed if you've tried calling us. So that's the quickest way for you to confirm your orientation date. Reminders will also go out usually about a week ahead of time. Those are getting ready to start going out this week, so you'll get your reminder email, and that will go to both the student and then any registered guests, as long as they got your email right. So hopefully they did. And then after that, if you still have questions, you can go ahead and give our office a call. We are open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, as quickly as we can get back to you, we will. Our office phone number is 804-828-3700. For an even faster response, we tend to be a little bit faster on email right now. You can also email us at newrams@vcu.edu. newrams@vcu.edu. And we will get back to you as soon as we are able. But like I said, you should be able to check all of that through the NSO registration page, which is available on our website. And the students can log in with their V number and last name. So that's probably the fastest way for you to confirm that you are all set for everything.
All right, thank you very much. It looks like we are experiencing some buffering issues here at the end, so I think that's where we're going to stop taking questions, and those will be available, all answers will be available in an accessible video, which will be captioned and uploaded later today, and then transcripts will be available upon request. All you have to do is email ramfamilies@vcu.edu, and we will get those sent out to you.
Great. One thing I want to encourage you to do just before we sign off, if you have not taken a look at the Families tab on our website, there is a lot of really great information for families there, including information about some summer send-off events that we have coming up this summer. There might be one in your hometown, so we encourage you to check that out and to join us if you can. We are also accepting applications for our Family Council, which is an advocacy and governance group for families here at VCU. So really want to encourage you to check that out if that's something you might be interested in. And we just look really forward to meeting you soon, to seeing you soon.
Thank you all so much. We'll see you soon.
See ya.